Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Analytical Fanboys. I am, of course, a boy who is analytical. My name is Simeon the Vacuuminator Scott, and I'm joined as always by an analytical who is a boy. It's Boingo Chris Gaston Ryder.
Hi, I'm just sitting here spinning my leak.
Nice. Well, as you can probably guess by the title and the release image and the music we used at the start and all the normal telltale bullshit we do on this show, we're talking about...
So is that for a YouTube show?
Yeah. We're talking about Bleach this week. No, not my favorite thing to drink, the anime. And I'm sure there's probably a few of you who listen to this podcast regularly and don't know what Bleach is. So just to give a quick explanation, Bleach is an anime from Japan. It came out in the 2000s and is all about two things: swords and skeletons. Now, just from that information, you can probably tell that it's the greatest work of Japanese animation ever created, and you are right for that. When Hayao Miyazaki goes to his grave, his last words are expected to be, "Kubo was right."
I can't tell if you're just memeing or if you genuinely enjoyed it.
I'm just memeing. That's the opening to Endless Chess's video on Bleach.
Oh.
I just really wanted to do that because I love that video.
Oh.
But I didn't dislike this. So my general impression of it is going to come off as negative, but I like things about it. The thing is, I think this is a very basic bitch entry-level anime, and I don't think that's a very original opinion to have, but that's the impression I got. It's just like, oh yeah, this is probably what Naruto would come off like to somebody who didn't grow up with Naruto like I did. It's fine.
I mean, this came out the same time as Naruto.
Yeah, it's fine. It's got some dumb, weird shit in it. It's got some cool 2000s try-hard shit in it. And it's got some girls who I may or may not want to look lewd images up for.
Of course.
Yeah. You know, it's just, it is an anime.
Is it Orihime or Rukia?
Rukia. Nobody cares about Orihime. She's just there for guys who just discovered that tits are a thing.
But let's actually give a description of Bleach.
Okay, go ahead.
That's
you're the one who put this on the list. Go ahead.
Bleach is a shonen series starring Ichigo Kurosaki as he's basically thrust into the world of basically being a Grim Reaper, but a Japanese Grim Reaper. So instead of a scythe, he has a katana. But because it's anime, it's not a normal katana. It's a big fuck off katana. Penis joke here.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched the first arc, which is basically, the best way to put it is the Monster of the Week arc right before shit gets real.
Yeah, it is the episodic arc that lets you get to know the character. It's the first 13 episodes of a Kamen Rider show.
Yeah. That's what it is, because, oh no, monster appears. Oh, we gotta figure out what's going on, and then you solve it. And slowly through it, lore starts being dropped on you.
Lore with quotes. We build up the cast. We meet some cool Skelly Bros. We slowly build up the fact that the two main characters probably want to fuck each other, but I'm told they don't, which is meh.
If I might, do you care if I spoil anything of the series that you probably will never touch again?
I will, dude. I will definitely never touch this again.
Okay, Ichigo gets with Orihime at the end of the story. Rukia ends up marrying Renji, the guy with the tattoos and Vegeta haircut.
Well, Orihime is kind of the Hinata of the series, so I can understand that.
Here's the thing. We've only watched 20 episodes of 366. So I've watched a ton more of this anime, and I know
in general or just this time around.
In general, I have got Jesus.
I was going to
Christ,
say,
it's
is
been
that all
forever.
you did this week? Did you just watch this?
No. I've watched.
Hey,
Hold on,
save
let
that
me
for the
actually-
save that for the end of the podcast.
No, I'm talking about of Bleach.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to figure out about where I watched too, because the first arc is the Agent of Shinigami arc, because that's the Japanese word that they use, and we just use Grim Reaper because it's an easier thing to say in English.
Because we're stupid Americans.
Soul Society arc part 2.
I will say the name Soul Society is one of the coolest Japanese things I've heard in a while.
Like, here's the thing. Everything about the show, like, yeah, the plot is basic bitch, but the aesthetic, though.
I wouldn't even say so much the aesthetic as much as, like, auxiliary things to it. Like, there's some cool terminology here and there. I really like the music just because it reminded me of certain things here and there. And there's certain directorial decisions that just really brought me back to the early 2000s. Like how occasionally there will be like this wavy TV static that's not TV static when they're trying to get across the fact that something is creepy.
Yeah. By the way, I've checked. I've watched up to the Arankar stuff, so...
What episode is that?
That's around 150, 132 to 150, around that kind of area.
Mm-hmm.
And the Arankars are basically hollow versions of like Soul Reapers.
Okay. And see, like...
So they're like... Yeah.
That's hilarious for me to hear because I could never tell you how many episodes of Naruto I've watched because I didn't really engage with Naruto in any kind of sane way. I would just check in on it from time to time and I would watch like chunks of arcs, but not whole arcs. And I kind of just absorbed the story through osmosis of the internet and other kids my age who knew about it.
Oh yeah, that's kind of how I got a lot of the later Bleach stuff. Because, like I say, I got up to Arankar, and I kind of just fell off.
And
because...
like I still do that. Like when the weekly Boruto anime started, I watched the first 3 episodes of that, and I was like, "This is pretty good." I'm not going to touch it anymore. I'm just going to look at fan art on Instagram. This is pretty good.
Yeah, but then you can always go back to Boruto's dad and rewatch it and get all the fuzzy memories.
Yes.
But
I've always had this idea in my head that one day I would binge read the entire Naruto manga. But then a friend of mine did it really recently, and he's like, "Yeah, there's so much shit in that makes no logical sense, whatever, even within that universe." And I'm like, "Well, maybe I won't."
Yeah. That tends to be a problem unless you're Oda of very long shonen.
Mm-hmm.
Because Oda's the only one who can who goes like, no, that weird detail back there, no, it makes total sense. Here's a whole storyline explaining it. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
From what I hear, One Piece is insane.
It is insane. Like, there's an entire character who dresses like a baby because like his family was murdered for some reason. I can't remember the whole thing, but it's like, what the fuck? It makes total sense, and it brings this weird gag character from the background and just makes him like sympathetic. Also, there's an entire group of superpowered people who are furries in that universe. So,
no, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Yep. But Bleach. We follow the story of Ichigo as he's fighting skeleton mask
Kurosaki. It's such a
fucking
samurai-ass name.
What do you think of the guy, though? The character?
He looks... They keep saying that he's 15. He looks 25 to me. Like, all his other classmates I can kind of buy as teenagers. He looks like a 25-year-old dipshit who works at Aldi's.
I'm going to bring something up. I'm going to bring that up when we talk about another character.
I know I think I know who you're going to bring up. And I have a thing about that. Because He's kind of the best boy.
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Agree.
As a character, he's all right. He is pretty standard anime protagonist in that, like, or shonen protagonist, I should say, because anime is not a genre; it is a medium. He, like, it's hard. It was really hard for me for most of the arc to get a real handle on his character because of the shonen thing of, like, we're in a comedy scene, we're in a serious scene, we're in a everyday bullshit scene, and characters kind of just changing on a dime to fit that. But by the time you get to the episode where there's the monster that killed his mom and they're going to visit his mom's grave, that was like, okay, I kind of get what this guy's about now. And he is an okay main character. I don't think he's real great or real special, but he serves his purpose nicely as the main focal point of this story.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of... he's a good blank ground to build stuff on.
Mm-hmm.
But he's fighting monsters with the help of Rukia. God damn it. Fuck it.
Kuchiko, which
no,
I always...
Kuchiki.
Yeah, that's right.
Kuchiki.
Which I always chuckle at just because it sounds like a rude word for a part of the female anatomy. Because I am apparently a 15-year-old.
But she was a Soul Reaper, gave her powers to Ichigo because they were having to fight a thing. And now she doesn't have powers, and she basically just bosses him around and says, yo, go fight the thing.
She's his fucking Navi. No, she's not Navi. She is fucking Mr. Belt from Kamen Rider Drive.
I mean, especially in the earlier episodes where she's the one who had to turn him into a Grim Reaper.
Mm-hmm. And she's got, like, an interesting backstory and shit that we don't fully even know about by the end of this arc. And she kind of gets all the best comedy relief. Like, there's a ton of comedy relief in this show, and a good bit of it I did not care for. But for some reason, whenever they would do her drawing like a 5-year-old thing, I just love that. I'm like, yeah, there's no wonder that this character is a waifu to thousands of people, and there's shit tons of not appropriate for children fan art of her. It's because she can do the whole thing of being the badass mentor, but also she's super cute, and she's kind of a goofball when it comes to certain things.
Oh yeah, it's fucking great. And because here's the thing, the first 3 arcs of Bleach are like some of the best goddamn shonen storytelling ever. It's simple shonen storytelling, but it's really well executed.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. And basically she plays Princess Peach for the next 2 arcs, but you have a lot of interaction. No. It's better than that. She's basically waiting to die because she goes like, yeah, no, if I die, everybody I care about is safe. It's very much that kind of mentality with her. But people come and you get a lot of flashbacks and you learn a lot of things. Like she had, because this anime, she had a senpai. Who was basically a carbon copy of Ichigo. That's why she kind of took a quick liking to him.
Yeah, that makes sense, because there was like one line in one of the final episodes I watched where some guy was like, you just like this guy because he reminds you of him, don't you?
Yep. So there's that. Also, because you don't give a shit, and people who are listening who may or may not give a shit, like, spoiler, I guess, like, if I remember right, Ichigo's dad is a Soul Reaper, but he gave up his power so he could have a normal family on Earth.
Oh, that hurts my brain. That hurts my brain a lot.
But that explains...
I hated his dad for most of the show. I found him super annoying up until the aforementioned episode where they go to visit his mom's grave. The final scene where he gives, where he's talking to Ichigo about like you need to chill out. It wasn't your fault. That scene, I literally stood up out of my chair and I went, "Why isn't that just his whole character?"
It is. It's just he's also a goofball.
God damn it, Japan.
Because something you will realize with any very powerful Soul Reaper from the Soul Society is they're a bunny-eared lawyer. You know that trope?
I do not.
Basically, that they are really, really, really good at their job, but they have some weird eccentricity that makes it so you don't want to fucking deal with them. Like a lawyer who wears bunny ears.
Oh, I have encountered that trope plenty of times in Super Sentai. Like, that's most Super Sentai commanders. Case in point, Zhao Rumpo from Uchu Sentai Q Ranger, who is a dragon alien dude who's been alive for thousands of years gathering these magical artifacts to form a rebellion against the space empire. And he has this really awesome backstory where the supreme commander in the empire didn't want him to go be a cool guy. And he was like, "Nah, I made my own morpher. I'm going to become a ranger." And then his fucking senpai commander guy sacrificed himself and so he could live. And then years later, when he had to whip out his powers to beat some generals for the good guys, he almost killed himself again. But then all the Rangers were like, "No, we believe in you. There can be more than just the 12 of us," because there were 12 Rangers in that fucking show. And so he magically got his powers granted to him. And then he was like a real badass for a few episodes. But also at the same time, whenever he's not being a Ranger, he's literally like this goofy old grandpa who makes all these ball and sphere related puns and shouts random phrases in English like, "Hello everybody, how you doing?"
God damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, also, again, spoilers. We're just spoiling this whole thing, so don't give a shit or don't watch.
I'm expecting most people listening to this either just listen to all of our podcasts and thusly don't give a shit, or have seen early Bleach and are nostalgic for it, and that's why they clicked on this.
Well, I'm kind of also like going into the like later stuff and going, yeah, no, there's a reason why people shit on Bleach. It's because of this shit. Because like you can agree that this was a pretty solid show.
It was all right.
Yeah, it was. It may not be a 10, but it's not a 5.
I'd say it's like a light 7 to a strong 6.
Yeah, Anthony Fantano. But like, okay, you remember what the other guy was? Uryu, a Quincy.
Yeah, that fucking dickhead.
Yeah, don't worry, he gets better.
I expect so. Okay, so this is a thing I had all throughout this show, and I'm gonna sidetrack you for a minute to talk about this. Is voice actors that I know from other things, because I noticed that a lot in this. Because obviously, there's Ichigo, who's played by Johnny Young Bosch, who's Adam, the second ever Black Power Ranger, but he was an Asian dude, so it was okay. But then there's this guy who is fucking Ken from Digimon 02.
Oh my god, and he looks like Ken too.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, does this guy get typecast as glasses, short black hair, or dressy, uptight dudes? That's awesome.
But Uryu Ishida is a Quincy, which is basically a race of people who can summon magic light bow and arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And they can kill hollows. But here's the thing. Soul Reapers don't like them because when they kill a hollow, they don't go back into the cycle like they're supposed to. They just get destroyed permanently.
Mm-hmm.
So
they make you super dead.
Yeah, so they killed all the Quincy's, and he's the only one technically alive, I think, at this point in time that we know of.
Yeah, because his senpai was the last survivor.
No, his grandfather.
His I thought he called him senpai at least once. Whatever.
Sensei.
Sensei. Fucking Japan. He was the last survivor of the purge, and he trained. I've already forgotten his name.
Uryu.
He trained Uryu. There, I said it.
Yeah, he did. Uptight asshole kind of character. His first appearance, he basically goes, "Hey, fucker, I'ma kill you. To do that, I'm gonna summon all these hollows to wreck over the city, and I'm gonna just be better than you to prove you wrong."
He's kind of the Batman to Ichigo's Superman, but because Ichigo is already a little bit of a tryhard, they had to make Uryu a super tryhard.
It's more like a very calm Vegeta.
Chris?
Yes?
I have not seen Dragon Ball. You know this.
How do you watch Naruto and not DBZ?
Because DBZ was for 90s kids. I was a mid-2000s kid.
The Boo Saga was airing 2004.
I don't care.
It's the Boo Saga. Candy, bitch.
Well, if you want to talk about... I don't care if they had the Ghost from Mario cameo. That's fine. I haven't seen it.
But again, to explain how off the rails the series gets, Ichigo is also part Quincy.
Was that in this arc?
No, it's later on.
Okay, I was racking my brain like, when did they fucking say that?
No, that's what I'm saying. It gets off the rails because every brand new race Kubo brings up into the series, he just makes Ichigo also that. Yeah, you know that new thing I just made up? Ichigo is also that.
Why? Because he's the main character.
So at the end, he is a Soul Reaper, a Quincy. There's like another group of people that two of the other characters that we see in the show are, on technical sense. He's a Hollow. He's everything.
He has all the forms.
Yep. Another character is Orihime. She's
boring.
She's basically main girl if Rukia wasn't there.
I suppose so, but also that's why she's boring. Like, the only quirk to her is that she's a weird cook, but that's also a quirk that happens to, like, 1 out of every 5 female characters in Japanese kid shows.
Yeah. She's also kind and caring and all that kind of stuff.
And she can talk to fairies and shoot them like rockets for some reason.
No, those fairies are a part of her.
I still don't understand that at all.
Okay, so real quick. During the whole Monster of the Week thing, Ichigo would save one of his friends. One of those friends being Orihime. And anytime those friends got really enacted, like really close to spiritual stuff with a Hollow, they would basically unlock their own spiritual power. Since Orihime is not a fighter, she got basically a bunch of guardians that act as her subconscious and that like are part of her in a weird way and just kind of go like, "Hey, we'll protect you."
Okay, so that's what was supposed to be going on. I never got that from the show. I always just assumed that everybody was suddenly getting their mutant power at the right time. Like, this is an X-Men comic.
But notice who gets them. It's the ones who are directly hurt and impacted by Hollows. Because the Kurosaki family already has plenty of spiritual power, so they don't have to awaken anything when they're hit by a Hollow. And I'll be right back. I'm being called.
Oh. How do I keep this podcast going? can I talk about while he's gone? Bleach is an anime from Japan. It came out in the 2000s and is all about... No, wait, I already did that. Fuck. Shit. Let me just... what can I do? Fucking... All right, the Bleach podcast is over now. Welcome to the Naruto podcast. I am your host, Ninja Master Cool Guy 7. Today we're going to talk about episode 563 of Aruto, son of Boruto, son of Naruto. I thought this episode was really interesting because Aruto finally fucked Sokira. They've been doing will they, won't they with this archetype of the main character and the love interest character for so long. But, Naruto never got with Sakura. And for some reason they did a complete swerve and never got Boruto and Sarada together. But now Aruto and Sokira are together, which is cool. I'm very happy for that. There's also some decent action in this episode. A lot of nice fights. And then there was some decent action in this episode, if you know what I'm saying. I also I liked the new villain they introduced. That guy who has a snake for a penis. The whole porn theme they've had with all the character designs in this iteration of the franchise has been really, really interesting and progressive for a kids anime. I know a lot of people were saying I was crazy for saying it was neat and it might actually work when this show got revealed, but here we are 22 years later, and I'm still right, baby. I'm still being proven on top, and that is why you guys should support this podcast and keep it going. Make sure you go to patreon.com/ninja. What was it again? Was it Sam? No, it wasn't Ninja. Ninja Master Cool Guy. Whatever else was in that username. I think there was a number somewhere. But make sure you donate to one of the fucking tiers we got. I'm sure there's... I think we put tiers on there. I can't remember. Yeah, you gotta give me money so I can continue making this podcast. Please help. I kept doing this podcast even when my wife left me and took the kids, when my friends tried to hold an intervention. When the cops came and shut off my power, I thought you guys know the story. I hacked into my neighbor's power lines and I kept... Oh, is he coming back? He's coming back. Hi. Hey.
I apologize.
Hello. Are you back?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing at all suspicious happened while you were gone.
All right, I'll find out in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Orihime. Orihime is not a bad character.
Yeah, she's not a bad character. She's just a bunch of stuff I've seen before.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What have you seen her, like, all that stuff? Did it come after this?
I can't. Dude, space is warped and time is bendable.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is an old enough series that may have influenced some of that.
Probably.
But, yeah, she has weird fairy powers. And then we have the best boy.
Yes. Puño Fuerte, the defender of El Mexico, as I like to call him. That's my name.
That's Tora Sado, or, as his friends call him, Chad.
Yeah, Chad. I love that his real name is Chad. It's the best shit ever.
He is Japanese Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
He is, and he is a huge motherfucker.
Yeah,
and he looks 30.
I don't see. I have seen like teenage Mexican dudes who look way older, so I was fine with him looking like that, as opposed to Ichigo, who's clearly supposed to be a white dude. So I'm like
Japanese.
But he's drawn like a white dude, and they make
he's drawn like a Japanese person. He just has red hair.
And it's natural.
Yeah. He's
See, that's why I thought he was a white dude, because they kept saying he has natural red hair. And I'm like, that doesn't happen in the Japans.
But it's also stylized, and yeah, they have brown hair people.
Yeah, but brown and bright orange are two different things, my friend.
Like I just said, stylized.
Okay. But yeah, he's the best guy. He's a big muscle boy who doesn't talk a lot, but he's got a real kind soul. He helps a bird boy out at one point, and he has a big punch hand for destroying people who get in his way, as all men should have.
It is one of the most simple but beautiful powers I have ever seen in anime.
Mm-hmm.
Because it basically just turns into bigger and bigger shields.
It's essentially a freaking Kamen Rider gimmick, but it's a real life superpower, and I think that's why I like it. Because I could picture them making an entire rider around, like, he has a big ass arm that has a shield and a punchy hand on the end of it, and all his forms are just different types of shields
and punchy hands. But that's he's just like he's basically like, yeah, dude, I'll help you out. And every time you see him just do anything, it's just like, how fucking strong are you?
I love how disinterested his vocal performance sounds too, because I'm pretty sure this is what they were going for, so I'm not trying to slag off the actor or anything, but he's always just like, huh, that's interesting. Guess we'll help out. Oh, it's a sad story. Don't worry. I'll make sure you find your mom. It's like, oh, I love this guy. He's just the perfect storm of dumb shit that all meshes together into beauty.
He is the Chad to Ichigo's virgin.
Yes!
But it's that wholesome versions of the meme where they're friends and they understand and help each other.
Yeah.
And the version's still like a really strong, tough guy. I don't know. This comparison's gotten off the rails.
All we need to know is Chad is the reason Ichigo eventually gets laid.
Yeah. I mean, Ichigo marries Orihime and they have a son in the epilogue.
Cool.
So there's Renji and Rukia. They have a daughter. So basically... It was like...
Did this end after Naruto's ending? Did this copy Naruto's ending?
No, I think it came before Naruto.
Oh, that's even more hilarious.
Maybe. Hold on. Let me check. Let me do some research. And any other characters you want to kind of like mention that you liked or thought were cool or anything like that?
Yeah, the sisters were cool. I didn't particularly give a crap about them until like a few episodes in when they actually got some stuff to do. Like the episode where the I forget their names. The dark-haired sister, who's kind of a bitch, actually is like cares about something in one of the later episodes. Then suddenly I cared about them and started enjoying their dynamic.
Bleach ended after Naruto. Bleach
copied Naruto's ending. That's great.
I'm pretty sure. So let me just double check. Because the original run of Naruto ended November 10th, 2014.
God, that feels like it was only like a year and a half ago.
And the final print for the final volume, so this is give or take, but it's definitely definitive, was 4th of November 2016. So a good 2 years later.
Interesting.
But what you thought about Clogs and Hat?
He was cool. He's very much, again, it's very much a thing I've seen before, but I didn't mind it. It worked perfectly well for the show. Like, it made sense that there would be a character like this. I didn't so much care for any of his assistants. Like, I thought the two little kids were annoying and stupid, and the big black guy was just kind of there to me.
Yeah, I can see that. And then the final major character, Kon.
Yeah, Kon's fun. I didn't like love him, but it was like, yeah, this is a fair addition to the show. I enjoy this character. I could do with this gimmick a bit, and it saves us having to have Rukia around for every fight scene, even though that was kind of a cool dynamic.
Oh yeah. It's also kind of neat that they brought up that they immediately started planting seeds that, hey, this Soul Society thing may not be the most ethical thing in the world.
Yeah. Also, all of Ichigo's classmates who aren't part of the main cast are shitheads, and I hate them, but they're shitheads, and I hate them in the way I hate most anime classmates.
Yeah, because you have his two bro mates. One of them's kind of like the guy who tries to be cool but is always seen as a loser, and then you have the other guy who looks like a pipsqueak but gets laid all the time.
I've never read that character archetype as he actually gets laid all the time. I've always read it as like he just wants everyone to think he gets laid all the time. Like he is the guy who's going to have his entire Twitter feed end up on r/I have sex.
No, like the second guy, the smaller guy with the black hair, not the brown hair dude.
Oh, okay.
The guy who says, like, near the end of this whole arc where they're going, like, what are you doing for summer? He says, oh, yeah, I'm going to Hawaii with my girlfriend and 9 of her friends.
Oh, yeah, I totally forgot about that guy because I just remember always being pissed off at r/I have sex guy.
Oh, yeah. You're supposed to kind of be pissed at him. Then you have Rukia's and Orihime's little friend group with Punch Girl and
the one girl who really wants to get into a bathtub with Orihime, which... Alright, hey, Japan.
Hey, at least... You can at least give this series credit for that. At least they didn't have an old man oogling her. You know, it could have been an old man. Yeah. And he could have been creepy that way.
I'm just saying, there's better lesbian representation in media to be had, okay? It's current year. Except not.
It's 2004. Tattoo's still a thing, apparently.
A fucking tattoo reference. This is why you're my co-host.
But also the major thing that I think attracted me to Bleach when I was a middle schooler, because this is what attracts any middle schooler to anything, is the aesthetic. The design of this whole thing is just like beautiful. Because if I may, real quick, opening.
Oh no, just go off, because this isn't my aesthetic, but I always love hearing people be like, I'm really into this. This is why I like Feud, because I don't like gaudy 90s colors, but he loves gaudy 90s colors.
Oh, gaudy 90s colors are the best. But the opening, it's a bop. The endings, because we got 2 of them, they're both bops. They're beautiful. The OST is one of the best goddamn anime OSTs ever, because if you hear that soulful singer start going down the rails, you know shit's about to go down.
And that one guitar track where it's like, that's in every action scene.
Oh, it's like the OST is so solid at just defining what the sound of this show is, because they could have went with the Naruto route with traditional Japanese instruments with a little bit modern play style to get that kind of like, oh yeah, he's like a samurai feel. But no, they said, screw it, we're gonna use hip hop and a soul singer.
We're going for the fucking zeitgeist, bro.
And and like every single episode has a unique open card.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessarily like unique open card like how American cartoons would have like a unique drawn illustration to kind of get the show across. It's more stylized and abstract. Like one episode will just say Bleach, the number episode it is, and it looks like it's underwater. Or it can be like graffitied on, and it's like they really try to go out of their way to make everyone look unique in an aesthetic sense.
Yeah, and I do really like that OST. I think it's very strong. The opening is good. I don't think I'd listen to that song a whole lot, but I did like it. I thought it was a good first opening song. The visuals were just like, I thought they were very well executed, but again, not my aesthetic. I hated the first opening, or the first ending, I mean. The first ending was insufferable to me. The second ending was okay.
And I can get that. It's a very slow jam. You know what it would have been? It would have worked better if they swapped them.
Quite possibly.
Tonally and emotionally, because the second ending theme is very fun and lighthearted, and if they put that with the Monster of the Week stuff, it's just, yeah, monsters, this is fun. And then you transition into this is a slow jam that's sad while Rukia is doing all the things and they're going through the training montage and all that kind of stuff. It would have worked probably a little better. But
yeah, definitely, actually, now that I think about it.
But the aesthetic of Bleach is the ancillary aesthetic is a lot of like solid block colors. And Kubo often draws his characters in what was at the time street fashion, street style clothing. Like I have the first 3 volumes of the manga right here in front of me, and like it is beautifully well drawn and all that kind of stuff. And like at the end of every volume, you get like these 2 pages going through some like the characteristics of like Ichigo. So like it's a full body sketch of him in like his street clothes, and it's very much like, oh, this is early 2000s streetwear punk. Like that's it reminds me of like Travis Touchdown and that kind of stuff.
This is what CM Punk was wearing when he was running his backyard wrestling ring.
Yeah. Like, and like he gives weird details, like Ichigo likes slim fit shirts and pants, likes chocolate. Favorite celebrities are Mike Ness and Al Pacino.
Who the fuck is Mike Ness?
Person he respects most is William Shakespeare.
Okay.
And like he gave every one of his songs like what?
Is Rukia's in there? Can we hear that real quick?
Rukia?
I want to hear who her favorite celebrity is.
Oh, she doesn't have one because she's from the Soul Society. Remember, she doesn't have Earth culture. Doesn't like tight clothing. And that's apparent because everything she wears is a sundress.
Yeah.
Likes climbing to high places.
Yeah, she first couple times we see her, she's standing on rooftops.
She likes rabbit-related items.
Yeah, I can see that, given the way she draws.
And she likes cucumbers.
Cucumbers are good.
And Shiratama, but the list can go on. Her theme song is actually McIsaac Wingstock recorded in Hi, How Are You Today? That's only in the first volume. Let's go to the second volume real quick.
Okay, let's just do everyone. Let's do it!
I only have the first 3, so
okay.
That's all I have.
Okay.
So, Orihime. She likes Asian and flower prints.
Makes sense.
She likes comedy.
Huh?
She daydreams a lot.
No shit.
Her mouth is open when she daydreams.
No shit.
She likes cheese and butter. She puts butter on baked sweet potatoes.
That sounds like something she would do.
And is a student health advisor.
Okay.
She like helps the nurse do all that kind of stuff.
Is that in American schools or not? Because I never went to like a.
I don't think. No, it's not really in American schools. It's really a Japanese thing.
All right.
But here's the best one, best boy. Do you want to say best boy for last?
Oh, yeah. Let's do him last.
Let's do him last. Let's do best boy for last. Okay, so in the third volume, because in the third volume of the manga is the goddamn, what's the fucking, it's the dude at the mom's graveyard. That's that hollow. I can't remember what he was called.
He is the Mega Skelebro Babadook.
What is it what's that one fish that's in the bottom of the ocean that has
an anglerfish?
Angler, that's the word I was looking for. Angler. Okay, so next character is Tatsuki Arasawa, who's the punch girl who's friends with Orihime and Ichigo.
Oh yeah, I forgot about her. She was cool.
Yeah, she's great. She's on the karate team. She joined as a black belt, 2nd degree.
Ooh.
Has known Ichigo since they were 4 years old.
Yep, that was definitely a thing.
She likes shorts and cargo pants.
That is very fitting for her character.
She belongs to the Student Disciplinary Committee.
Okay.
She worries that her name in kanji isn't cute, so she makes sure to write it in hiragana.
I don't think she's the kind of girl who'd be concerned with cuteness on any level, but okay.
I mean, it's probably like, I don't want to, it's probably seen as like a mindset of like, I don't want to be a complete dyke.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a complete tomboy. I want a little bit of cuteness in me because she's still a girl. She still care about a little bit of that.
I wasn't going to say it, but like, I'm sure there's plenty of people who are like, the only reason she punches the girl who's constantly coming on to Orihime is because she's Orihime's secret girlfriend.
And she likes apple pie.
Apple pie is fucking delicious. Good pick.
Okay. Isshin Kurosaki, Ichigo's dad.
Ooh.
He is the head of the Kurosaki family. Duh. He's a local doctor and can do anything except major surgery.
Also duh.
Likes potato bean paste cakes.
Okay.
Favorite celebrity is John Lee Hooker.
Who the fuck is John Lee Hooker?
And he was originally designed to be a mortician instead of a doctor until the very last minute.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Especially with a lot of the themes of death and all that kind of stuff. All right, time for best boy.
Oh, John Lee Hooker is like a African-American guitar jazz bro.
Yeah, this very much feels like a hip-hoppy jazz kind of influenced a lot of this whole story. But
listen to some of this guy's music later.
Chad. He likes loud shirts. His neck always open.
Yes.
Tattoo of a winged heart with a snake wrapped around on left shoulder. The words Amore e Morte, love and death.
Oh my god, I love this guy.
He likes small animals.
That is obvious, given that
he also likes tomatoes.
This guy would not get along with Sasuke whatsoever.
And his family structure is unknown. He is 192 centimeters tall.
That's pretty tall.
Pretty tall.
Also, I'm looking at John Lee Hooker's discography. There's probably going to be at least one person who's really mad at me for not knowing who he is, because he's done a lot of shit with a lot of other more famous people.
Yeah, but hey, now you know about him. You can always thank Ichigo's dad.
Yeah, thank you, Ichigo's dad.
Is he that annoying now?
Yeah, he's still pretty annoying, but hey, he got a couple good scenes towards the end.
Yeah. But so much of this is just like, this is a very nostalgic show because I used to stay up late and watch this on Adult Swim.
Mm.
And I think when you look at a show like that through that lens of, oh yeah, watching it on a very specific way in a very specific way on a very specific channel, it really tinges how you feel, how like you perceive the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember it's midnight, CRT TV flickering at me. I am in the living room at my grandma's house. She's dead asleep, and you just hear that like lo-fi hip hop that Adult Swim used at the time. Boom, that is like, yeah. And you read the joke and it's funny, and then all of a sudden the Bleach theme song pops up. It's like, oh, that's everything. It was
fucking
everything.
lit, bro.
Dude. It was a powerful moment, like, because I was watching Bleach, Full Metal Alchemist, and the reboot Cyborg 009 episode. Like they were premiering all at the same time, but I didn't know jack shit, so I didn't know what was going on. I was just going like, "What the fuck is this dope robot shit?" Oh my god, this dude has like a giant knife for a sword. This is awesome.
Yeah, it sounds like a very similar experience to the thing I told you about before the recording tonight of me when I was a kid getting up at 5 a.m. to turn on Cartoon Network and hear, "All worlds are in danger!"
Yeah, but see, I got dope hip-hop beats.
And I got a weird Australian rap version of the Transformers theme, which... honestly, I think I win out in the end, but you can have your little victory.
I mean, at least I have better taste.
Look, I get that Cybertron is garbage, but it's my garbage, damn it.
I'm just mean in general. Mister, I don't like Beck.
You really want to go? You really want to go here? You really want to have Beckcast 2 tonight? When we're an hour in.
We're gonna get there one day. I'm going to suggest something you just find utterly horrible that's going to be worse than Beck.
Next episode, Battlefield Earth review.
No, I'm not ever going to put myself through that bullshit. So anything else you kind of want to talk about in this show? Because I'm kind of at a loss here too. I think that's about it. So why don't we go on to what we've been up to this week? Alrighty then.
So Chris, what have you been listening to this week?
Oh boy, I have some tasty shit for you.
Ooh.
So first thing up, I listened to an EP by an upcoming artist. You may have heard of him. The EP is from Lil Nas X.
Who?
Old Town Road.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah. It's a bunch of new songs. Basically, he went, all right, I want to make sure people know I'm not just a novelty one-hit wonder kind of dude. So he really branched out his style. Like one of them is kind of grungy, like Nirvana grunge.
Oh, wow.
Like full-on guitars, and it sounds really cool. He made another trap country song called Rodeo, and it's just like solid. The chorus is great. It's like if I take you everywhere, you won't know how to walk. That kind of if I give you everything, it's really cool chorus, and it's really just dope. It's just a really solid, like, I am looking forward to seeing what this guy does.
Well, that's nice.
Like, and it just, God damn it. I'm making sure because I really liked the chorus. And I want to mention it. If I took you everywhere, then, well, you wouldn't know how to walk. If I spoke on your behalf, then you wouldn't know how to talk. If I gave you everything, and everything is what I bought, I can take that all back and never care about what you thought. Basically, like, yo, I don't want to be that guy in a relationship, so let's actually, like, work together.
Neat.
And on that country train, continuing, I've been listening to Orville Peck, the gay anonymous cowboy.
Yes, the guy the smooth lounge boy, as I've come to know him, because I've only listened to the one song you put in my Discord server.
Yeah, he's new on the scene, and his music is the best way to put it. It's like it's very old style country, like Johnny Cash and earlier,
aka real country,
actual country. Yep. And he's making a lot of waves because that sounds fresh, because country's been beer and truck and dirt roads for so goddamn long.
Pseudo hip hop for like the last 20 years.
Yeah, that everybody's going like, wow, a person actually talking about sadness and pain and death just feels nice, especially because like I saw a lot of people going like, God, this just sounds like goth music with a twang, and it's like, yeah, that's what country is.
Mm-hmm.
That's what country's supposed to be. It's goth music, but with a southern accent.
Yeah, and he's got a cool gimmick. He looks like the vigilante from their DC comics.
Yeah, except he has like a cool fringe coming out of the bottom of his mask covering his mouth.
Mm-hmm.
But the weird thing is, despite the mask, you can still tell he's hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's just really cool, and it's also really neat to see a LGBTQA dude just be in the country scene, because that's not something you really associate with country music.
Mm-hmm. And he stands next to two very scantily clad women, so his gayness doesn't totally intimidate you.
Oh, yeah. But also, like, I follow him on Instagram now because I just, like, fell in love with his music.
Nice.
Like, he posted a picture of this old dude, and in the caption it said, a member of, I can't remember the name of the band, it was like purple something, pink, purple, pink, mauve, or something like that. It was a color and then a thing, and it said one of the original gay cowboys. And it's like, and he's also repping the ones who came before him. He's not just going like, hey, I'm the first gay country singer. It's like, no, there's a history that comes before him, and he's representing that, and he's respecting that. And it's like, fuck yeah.
Nice.
It's really cool. I can't wait to see this revival of country come to fruition. That will just be amazing to me.
Yeah.
Because you have really new, interesting stuff with Lil Nas X, really pushing boundaries on country, but actually being truer to country than many country singers have been.
I mean, like, I don't particularly like Lil Nas X, but I do get why people enjoy the song, and I don't have any ill will towards it. Orville Peck is pretty darn good from what I've heard, the one song I've heard, and I want to listen to more. But, like, dude, I fucking love Johnny Cash, and Devil Went Down to Georgia is one of my favorite songs of all time. And, like, for the longest time as a kid, I hated country, because all the country you could hear as a radio, which when you're a kid, the radio is how you experience music, or when we were kids, the radio was how you experienced music. All the country you heard was garbage. We're trying to be hip hop, but we're going to talk about beer and fucking our sisters in the Confederate flag country.
99.9 Gator Country. That's a Florida joke for you there.
I know that station.
It used to be in Daytona, like Froggy something. I can't remember. But baseball's never been hotter than the Jacksonville Suns.
Hey.
The only country act, I think, who can get away with infusing hip-hop into their sound was Big and Rich. Because they took it as a joke. They were like, no, we're just going to be making goofy stuff. We're going to not take ourselves seriously.
Okay.
Because they were the band that did Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
I think I know what that is, but I can't remember.
Basically, the whole song was, hey, girl, you want to jump on my dick?
Well, at least you're not beating around the bush.
Yeah, Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy. But yeah, that's what I've been listening to.
Nice.
A lot of revival country and weird stuff.
As I said on the last podcast, I'm currently rebuilding my music playlist that I had for just casual listening on another account because I went back to just having one YouTube account. So I haven't listened to anything new this week. Would you like to hear me ramble about some old shit I've already listened to?
I mean, most of the shit you listen to is old shit, so go ahead.
That's fair enough. Let me pull that playlist real quick.
Oh, I'm just coming with the zingers at your expense.
Yeah, well, the O's combo change themes, which are just fucking magnificent inserts. Like, if you have not listened to those, they're worth it alone for the bits where fucking Akira Kushida will just chant the name of the form. Puto tira, sesorus. That shit gets me. Churches, we did a whole podcast on Churches. A little bit of DJ Cumberbund. He's a good boy who makes good fan edit songs.
Did
Ghost,
I show him to you? Because I've been listening to Cumberbund forever.
Yeah, you introduced me to him.
Oh, yeah. Because I remember I said, listen to this dope-ass remix. Also, Macho Man Randy Savage is in there.
Yeah, and then you sent me like 3 other videos of his, and I'm like, did you just find this channel? Yeah, he's a good boy. We've already done a whole podcast on Ghosts. I don't need to say how good Ghost is. They're good boys.
They're good Saint boys.
Some Elvis. I've been an Elvis fan since I was like 10. So, and everybody knows who the fuck Elvis is. Either you like his music or you don't. Kendrick Lamar.
You know Elvis, but do you know Yelvis?
Kendrick Lamar is not the kind of artist I'm normally into, but I really, really like his shit. It speaks to me on levels. Like, I is an instant classic in my opinion, and everybody loves Humble. I love Humble. DNA is great. Element is fucking a phenomenal song and video. And then the songs he did to tie in with Black Panther are pretty good. Will Smith. Will Smith is actually a really divisive guy, I've found out in recent years for rap fans. Like, either you love him or you hate him. It depends on whether you like corny shit or not. And I like corny shit, so I love Will Smith. Kuro Benito, I like them quite a bit. They're a bit hard to get into at first just because of like how bright and happy they are. But
you also got to be willing to just like let Japanese lyrics slide right over you.
Yeah, but they're pretty good, and their newest track, or their newest single, "Swimming," is much more downbeat and much better than any of their earlier stuff. And I like their earlier stuff. I just dropped my pen. It's much better than their earlier stuff. And I would say, like, if you don't like them, at least go check out that video. It is a fantastical thing. It's one of my like real aesthetics. I want to spoil it for anybody what it is because it's a great video. Anything else? I think that's it for this week. Yeah. So Chris, what have you been watching this week?
Dividing Driver. I've seen Gal Gaigar episode 3, the introduction of the Dividing Driver.
Yeah, I've seen that thing in toys, and it looks like a hell of a weapon.
It's not a weapon.
What?
Do you want to know what it does?
What does it do?
In order to mitigate casual destruction, to not hurt people, they send a Dividing Driver, which makes a several kilometer wide expanse in the middle of the city and pushes everything out, leaving it undamaged and untouched so Gal Gaigar can fight the giant robot and not hurt anybody.
That is fucking great.
That's what the Dividing Driver does. That
continues on in the whole vein of this is Superman the anime, and I love it.
Oh yeah, and like, because one of the main characters dropped off by a robot lion to basically the Japanese Kents, But here's but the people who are like keeping Gal Gar locked up, not locked up, but like in the hangar, keeping check on it and keeping an eye on it. They get to the kid and they're checking him out and going like, all right, you just seem human. Everything seems fine. We have no idea why you're turning into a fairy green boy and saving people. So there's mystery there. It's fun. It's just really good. I just really love old ass anime.
Old ass anime is good anime.
Oh yeah. But that's the only episode of Gal Gar I've seen this week.
Okay.
But I have seen a unique independent animated show on YouTube called The Dudes of Hazmat.
Is this that thing you sent me a couple clips of?
Maybe? But basically, it's... You've seen Adult Swim stuff, haven't you?
Yes.
It's like that, but better. Animation, like, here's the best way to put it. Instead of animating a walk cycle, the guy rotoscoped him, like, I would assume himself, walking in place, and then moved the character walking in place, but as if they were actually walking as the animation for their walking.
Huh.
And it's like hilarious to see.
Okay, no, this is a different thing than the stuff you were sending me, like the Keanu Reeves court case.
Oh yeah, no. That's another great animator. We can talk about him too. But
okay.
I'll send you a clip of Dudes of Hazmat real quick so you can kind of get a feel. I would just say like skip around because it's an 8-minute video, the first episode. Or I could send you. No, I'll just send you the Can of Whoop Ass clip.
Okay.
Because the first episode has a musical theme, musical bit in it. Boop. That's the Dudes of Hazmat. And it's very like he didn't want to animate Mouse, so he put him in hazmat suits. And like in the second episode that I watched, there's this psychic woman who realizes something and she has to go away, and she gets her friend to come with her, but they have two different rotoscoped walk cycles. So one of them is running faster, and instead of just making the other person move faster so it looks weird, they just added a line that just says, "Hey, slow down." And it's just great.
Yeah, this looks pretty decent.
But like the walk cycles are some of the best things because it's just so fun. It's so fun and goofy.
It's a very old YouTube style of funny animation.
Oh yeah.
Like it's really jerky, but all the jerkiness is very charming and fun.
But yeah, that's the Dudes of Hazmat. It's fun. It's absurd comedy. But then the other thing we watched that I sent to you and you watched.
Yep.
I'm trying to get the animator's name so he can
James Lee.
He has one of the crisp, unique animation styles I have seen in forever.
Okay. Dude has flippin' mastered the Japanese anime comedy style where it's very quick, it's very clean, and it's very dramatic. And that's where the comedy comes from.
Essentially, he has a series where he holds a courtroom of public opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He's had episodes on James Gunn and a bunch of Justin Trudeau and a couple other people grouped together. He had one on Michael Jackson that I haven't watched yet, and he had one on Keanu Reeves. And it's he's in live action, but he has plenty of filters over him. His glasses, you never see his eyes, and the rest of the characters are animated. but the way he films himself, it's very distinct. Like, he's not just filming himself, he's speeding up and slowing down the footage so it feels animated in and of itself. And it's just really inspiring. And I just want to see more shit like that.
Guy clearly has a very strong style he's going for.
Yeah.
Very, very distinct, not like much other stuff you ever see on YouTube.
It's a shame that it's probably never going to be seen by a wide audience, because it probably takes them forever to make a video, and then it's not going to get boosted because the algorithm.
Yeah. And the algorithm just changed too, and it's fucking a lot of people over.
It always changes.
But you know what never changes? Pop-Tarts, because they're delicious.
I remember Pop-Tarts.
You remember? When was the last time you had a Pop-Tart? I seriously want to know. When was the last time you had a Pop-Tart?
Probably a couple weeks ago.
Okay. I was worried for a second there. I was like, did you leave that in childhood? Like some sort of I'm too old for Pop-Tarts bullshit?
No, I was quoting Cool Ghosts. In their latest episode, they just go, "Do you remember Pop-Tarts?"
Ah.
The joke is because they're dead.
Oh, yeah. All right, you watch anything else?
A bunch of shit ton of YouTube.
Yeah.
Like, just so much YouTube. I also watch this really cool anime. It's called Bleach.
Oh. It's just that old Twitter and YouTube grind. Twitter and YouTube every day. That's your life. Twitter and YouTube, and every day you're getting older and you haven't accomplished any. Sorry, this is an old problem I had with myself coming back.
I barely am on Twitter.
Good.
I am on Twitter like maybe twice a week.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'll go now. I watched a lot more Kamen Rider Build. I'm on episode 20 now. I've watched episodes 12 through 20, and holy shit, is shit popping off in this show. I thought people were just joking around when they were calling it Plot the Series. It is Plot Overdrive the series, because like pretty much shit goes down at Christmas and then it doesn't stop going down. Like, this show is just a continuous Christmas episode of Kamen Rider at this point, and that is kind of amazing. And like, even in the episode after the Christmas episode, they make a joke about that, because like, you know how in X8 there was that big dramatic ending to the Christmas episode, but they had an episode of build up of like, oh, it's Christmas time and there's Christmas stuff around, and there's that big fucking Poppy Peepa Popo musical number in the actual Christmas episode.
Yeah.
In Build, there is so much plot going on that they don't have time for any Christmas in their Christmas episode. In the last time on Kamen Rider Build recap, in the next episode, they do a joke about like, we've been so busy with all this crazy bullshit that we didn't even get to have Christmas. And there's like a cutaway to them on the day after Christmas in those, just sitting around in those dumbass costumes Toei makes the actors wear every year. It's so good. But what has basically happened is, boy who we meet at the start of the show and was accused of murdering somebody has now become the secondary writer. It's cool. He's a good boy. I like him. But we found out that the person he was accused of murdering is, and this is major spoilers for Build, people. So, Chris, are you okay with this?
I don't care.
Okay. He is a face-swapped, memory-erased version of the guy who secondary writer was set up as was framed for murdering. And that person is also the person who created the evil organization from the show. So now the main writer is racked with guilt.
As a main writer should be.
Mm-hmm. And there's like a whole 2 episodes of him going, I don't know how I can fucking go on when I made all this shit to kill people with. I've been using it to save lives. Am I really a good guy? And then they have that standard scene of him wandering around not knowing what to do, and then his friends are just like, hey, bitch, you're a good person. Keep being a good person. And he's like, oh yeah, that's right, I am a good person.
I'm a good boy.
Yeah. But then we find out who the main antagonist is, because Night Rogue and Bloodstalk are 2 main antags. They've had identities unbeknownst to the main characters, even though it's pretty obvious for viewers to know up till this point. But the main characters find out that Night Rogue is the son of the prime minister of the part of Japan they're in, and he conspires to have his father injured and put in the hospital so he can become the prime minister of Japan. And Bloodstock is the goofy shop owner grandpa character. You know Brave's dad from X-Aid?
Yeah.
This is basically, what if that guy was Kronos?
So basically they went, all right, all those standard character archetypes we used in X-Aid and other shows like it? We're just going to fuck with all of them.
Yeah. And he's great. He's really entertaining. I liked him before we even found out he was the big bad, but he's like even more entertaining now. It's kind of a Dan situation, but like Dan's just 10,000 more charismatic points than this guy ever will be. They try to steal Pandora's box and all the bottles, but Bill tricks them but good, and he's like, fuck you bitches, I'm not working with or for you, I'm gonna fight you. And then they're like, okay. And then Bloodstock betrays Night Rogue. He steals Pandora's box, or he steals all the data Build has from his past life that basically is the cheat sheet for the upgrades. And he fucks off to another part of Japan and is like, hey, here's all this information on how to make these secret weapons. You want to go invade the part of Japan I just came from and steal Pandora's box so you can make a big nuclear-powered weapon and take over the world? And they're like, that sounds fucking awesome. We'll do that. So now we've entered into an arc where part of Japan is invading into another part of Japan, and it's a war-torn wasteland. And surprisingly, they're actually depicting that rather well. There's actually a lot of really good set dressing going on, and there was a scene where one of the main characters is running around in the aftermath of a battle, and they've got like 1 million little kid actors in there just standing around looking like they just got done crying for 3 hours, screaming, "Where's my mom?" As in, all these kids' moms are dead as shit. It's like, I forgot that Japan's okay with putting that in a kid's show. This is cool. Then, because of the secret upgrade information, Secondary Rider Boy gets an upgrade with the aid of a new driver, which is called the Splash Driver, and is essentially a hunk of blue plastic with a lever that is a giant wrench sticking out the side. And instead of energy drink bottles, which is what they have been using to transform so far,
I always saw them as like spray cans. Like,
no, they're called bottles. They're meant to be like energy drinks. And then Build's first upgrade beyond the basic forms is a big soda can.
I always thought it was like spray bottles because he kind of has that whole the whole plastic runner like a model kit.
Yeah. But the new gimmick items they have for the Slash Driver are jelly packets. Because, and I did not know this was a thing before I started watching Build. Apparently, it's a big thing with like packing lunches if moms aren't going to do a bento box in Japan. That kids just get these little boxes of jelly to put on whatever. Yeah. So they're using those to transform. And then we get we get a new writer, the third writer of the series, who also uses the Slash Driver, and he is Common Rider Grease. And he transforms using the robot jelly. He is the robot in Grease, as his transformation jingle says. And he has an incredibly tragic backstory because the part of Japan he came from, which he's working for, is kind of like their general during this invasion of Build's part of Japan. He, before the Skywall disaster, was like a kid whose dad had just died and he came into all this money and all this farmland that he had to suddenly start maintaining. So he hired all his buddies on right out of high school and was like, this is just what we're going to do. We're going to stay friends forever and we're going to work on this farm I now own together because I'm way too stressed out to do it by myself. And then when the Skywall happened, all of his land became infertile and he threw away his entire fortune just keeping his friends employed. And then he went bankrupt. And then this shit happened and the government came to him and was like, hey, you guys are compatible for this new super soldier thing we got going. You want to sign up? Okay, I guess if it'll mean my friends and I get to stay together and they get to keep putting food on the table for their families. So his friends are basically monsters of the week, but they actually keep their personalities and they have they're a little higher, more powerful is the word I'm looking for. And also, I think they're a homage to Akamizer Free, which is an obscure Shotaro Ishinomori creation. So that's cool. But also, Grease is pretending that he has amnesia after becoming a writer because in order to be a general, he has to be a massive dickhead to his friends. And for him, it's easier to do it while pretending he doesn't know who they are because he already feels like a giant jackass doing it, but he'd feel like an even more giant jackass doing it if he still remembered them, quote unquote. And to top it all off, the main supporting cast girl, Misora, is also an idol in her spare time called Mitan, and the whole idol gimmick with her is, and this is integral to the plot of the first few episodes, is she will go on and just ask for information about certain things, and she'll give out rewards based on that. And so whenever they're like, we're a little bit stuck on this case we're trying to solve, Misora, get the webcam! And that's how they progress the plot sometimes. But major plot twist, Grease, this big badass who's talking about like, I'm so angsty. My whole fucking life got ruined by the Skywall, and I want to keep my friends and keep them alive. And I'm pretending like I'm a big amnesiac badass, and I want to live for the fight of the passion of battle. If you bore me in fight, you're a loser. He is a Misora super fan. He has her as the save screen on his phone, and somebody sent me a screen cap from a later episode where apparently he has a Mitan body pillow.
Oh God!
Mm-hmm. Japan is amazing because they play it up when he recognizes her. They play it up all dramatic, like that girl, and they zoom in on like this alien artifact that she uses to purify the build bottles and make them usable in the driver. And it's like, oh, he probably knows something about her because her backstory is really vague at this point. He's probably going to bring forward some major reveal, and maybe the other Japanese government is trying to capture her as well. And then he's just like, she's Miton! Oh my god! It's one of the best swerves I've seen in a toku. I'll say that. And there's like this whole thing of Build being like, I'm a scientist. I don't want my creations to be used as weapons of war. I will not work with this government if they're going to make me fight for them. Well, I don't want to be a part of this war. I'm not even the same person as the guy who got his amnesia erased to become me. This war has nothing to do with me. And then there's like a reality check moment of the secondary writer and the main supporting cast girl being like, no, dude, we're all kind of involved in this. We all have a stake in this. You need to get your shit together and get involved, and we need to be a team again. And it's like, yeah, okay. So there's an arc of them doing that and then fighting Greece for a little bit. And then in the most recent episode, we found out that Misora has an ability where she can just insta-heal any wound, but it causes her to pass out for a few hours. And they were like, oh, hey, the Prime Minister of Japan is still in the hospital, and we don't like his son. His son's an asshole who's making us fight for the government kind of forcibly, and he has questionable tactics. Let's go revive the Prime Minister of Japan. And then there's this big badass scene where he just storms into this war meeting where his son is like telling off Build and being like, God damn it, why don't you follow my orders? All this shit that went wrong in this episode is all your fault because you didn't follow my orders. We have to invade them and take out the bad guys, and we're gonna take over all of Japan, and I'm gonna bring forth a new dynasty and be an amazing guy. And then his dad just storms in and is just like, I can walk again. I'm Prime Minister. I'm back to being Prime Minister now. You get the fuck out of this part of Japan. I don't have a son anymore. Also, we're going to take your driver. No, you don't. I'm going to transform and fly off. It's like, oh, that is some classic Japanese tropage right there, and I was into it. So that's Build so far. It is a good show, and I like it. It's not quite like favorites level yet, but I get the feeling it could get there once we get into the second half. And then hey Chris, you want to hear me say something really embarrassing?
I mean, it's your embarrassment.
No. Oh. I just this week discovered binging with Babish. Yeah, because it's kind of the same thing with Bon Appetit. Of I just needed either someone like you to make me watch them, or the algorithm to make me accidentally click on one of their videos. Because I would always see it in the trending tab, and I'd be like, "What is this? This guy makes a food from a show. This is just gimmicky garbage trying to get views. I don't need to watch this. He's probably like some incredibly handsome 20-something who just screams at the camera all the time. This is the kind of shit that makes me hate YouTube. I'm never going to click on this." And then I just randomly clicked on one of his videos on accident, and it's the most amazing, soothing, fucking, we're just focusing on the thing I'm doing. There's no extra bullshit, no frills. It's just good ass solid content. You don't even have to have seen the show the dish he's making is from to enjoy it. And I was like, oh my god, I have found the few of food videos. This is amazing.
Also, have you just watched his binging episodes, or have you watched his basics?
I've watched a few binging episodes. I'm gonna watch the basics one on brownies that just came out when I go to sleep tonight.
Because it's literally, hey, here's all the stuff when I'm cooking, but I'm actually just cooking food so you can learn the skills, and it's like fucking great.
That's nice. I also saw he has like a workout series now, and I'm eager to see what that's like.
It's partially because he's training to cosplay Kratos.
Nice.
Yep.
And then I watched another YouTube thing, or I caught up on a YouTube thing I haven't watched in quite a while. So Chris, have you heard of this guy called Digibro? Well, it's not going to be what you think it is. Are you aware of the fact that he has brothers?
I know one of them makes like his beats.
That is his youngest brother. He is the oldest of 3 brothers. His youngest brother is the one who used to make his beats. He has it in like 2 albums now, because he went off to become a real boy. And by being a real boy, I mean he got really into his job at Pizza Hut and is now engaged to be married.
Nice.
And then there's the middle child of the family, Victor, who is like an aspiring indie filmmaker guy who, like, his entire job is he runs a business where he basically just shoots weddings and rap videos for people. But on the side, he has a Let's Play channel now because Digi started the Digi Bros Let's Play channel with him. And they did that for a very long time, and it got to be a regular thing in his life. And then Digi got a girlfriend, and he moved away, and he couldn't really do that anymore. And Victor was like, "Well, I still enjoy doing these videos. I still want to do it. Hey, comrade, can I just have the channel?" "Sure." "Okay, I'm going to change the name to Vic and Hope because I'm going to do it with my girlfriend now, who I've been with for way longer than your girlfriend. So I have a way more interesting dynamic with her than you do with your girlfriend." "Okay." And they've been doing Let's Plays ever since. They upload very irregularly, and they don't really play through the whole game because it's just an excuse to do like a 20 to 40 minute podcast on just whatever's been going on in their lives lately. And like oftentimes they will switch games even within sessions. It's just whatever they feel like playing or whatever they've been playing lately that they do it on. So I caught up on like the last few parts, which have come out in the space of like 4 or 5 months, because these all came out during the period where I was like, I fucking hate Digi. I'm sick of Digi. I don't ever want to see anything related to him ever again. And I unsubbed from all of his channels, and I just reflexively unsubbed from Vic and Hope. Vic and Hope is good and it's pretty separate from Digi's shit, except for when Digi occasionally just randomly appears on there again. Looking it up right now just to see what the videos I watched were. Okay, so I watched their playthrough of DMC5, which is just 2 parts, their playthrough of Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is just 2 parts, and then their playthrough of Sekiro, which is now up to 9 parts. And I had a really interesting time listening to this because, long story short, the thing I used to listen to audiobooks timed out all the books I had borrowed, so I couldn't listen to books at work for the last few nights, so I've just been listening to this, and it was a really interesting roller coaster. And I'm just going to start partway through the Sekiro playthrough because that's where all the interesting shit starts happening. So they talked about Detective Pikachu for a whole episode, and they spoiled the shit out of it. I will not spoil the shit out of it on this podcast because it's not even on home video yet, but they hated it. Their reaction to it was like the reaction most people had to the first Transformers movie. It's like, this is the last generation trying to make what they think we want, and it's fucking terrible. And I was like, the way you're describing it, it sounds all right to me, but whatever, you're entitled to your opinion, and every other review I have heard has been positive, so it was just really interesting to hear a negative review of it. And then they talked about Avengers Endgame, and their whole review of Endgame was like, yeah, I guess it's good. I don't see why people were upset. There was some wonky stuff in there, but like they wrapped up 10 plus years of movies. That's a real feat to accomplish. So good on them. And I'm like, I like how you guys just gave the review most of the internet would give to Detective Pikachu to Endgame. And they talked and because Victor's very into the Souls series, he talked about Sekiro a good bit and made it sound like a cool, interesting game. I've never touched a Souls series game, but I because of him and Digi, I am somewhat interested in getting into it at some point. So it's good to hear that Sekiro is another good installment. And then they talked about a cool trip to Atlanta they took, where they went to see all this cool stuff and look into potentially moving there. And then they reveal, which they talked about something I had forgotten about, which is a story from like way early in when they had taken over the channel of when they became boyfriend and girlfriend. It was on a trip to Atlanta they had taken with another couple friends because they were friends since high school. And it was always very clear that Victor liked Hope, but Hope is asexual. So it was kind of like, well, this is never going to happen, so I'm never going to make my move kind of a thing for him. And then on their original trip to Atlanta, they had this they got away from their friends at one point, and they kind of just had this big emotional conversation and just decided that, like, yeah, we do actually really like each other and we work really well together. So even though I'm not the same sexuality as you, I don't think I'm ever going to find a better partner, was kind of Hope's mentality, if I remember correctly. It very low chance she or Victor will ever listen to this, but if I'm putting words in her mouth, I apologize. This is just how I remember it. So let's get together and be in a relationship. And they've been extremely happy ever since. And so on this trip back to Atlanta, which was under the pretense of we're celebrating Hope graduating from college, and it's also just a thing we did a long time ago, Victor proposed. And it was really cute. And I was really happy for him because the way they proposed, the way he ended up proposing was like, he had like this perfect plan, and then some other guy did his perfect plan at the place they went to before he was going to do it. And so he was like, well, fuck, now I can't do it. And then he tried to come up with like this backup thing, and that went wrong. And then he just, like, at the last second pulled her aside on a bench and was just like, hey, here's a ring. Will you marry me? She was like, a fucking course, bro. And that was really neat. And so, yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. If people are into Let's Plays and don't watch Vic and Hope, go watch Vic and Hope. It's a very good show. Just don't expect it to be about the game necessarily. And that's the whole reason I did that, because I really enjoyed listening to these episodes, and I was like, I should do a thing talking about how good Vic and Hope is. But I'm not really using my main channel right now, so I'll do it on the podcast.
All right.
Yeah. Did you read anything this week, Chris?
Read. Let's see. Let me pull it up. I started reading Zatch Bell.
Nice.
I remember really loving the anime as a kid, and even like wanting to play the trading card game. But yeah, Zatch Bell. That's something I'm reading up. A manga I've been reading, Kaiju no Takage, Monster Lizard. It's about a daughter, her mother, and they find like a giant egg with a monster lizard girl in it, and the little monster girl's going like, I'm a monster, I'm gonna eat you, but everything she does is like a lizard, to the point where her tail falls off.
Oh,
and the mom and the daughter go like, oh, your tail fell off. And the monster girl is going like, yeah, isn't that scary? And it's like, no, it's like a lizard. And the monster girl's like going, I'm a monster, not a lizard. And it's adorable.
It's like that one meme image of Bowsette where she goes, I'm going to be scary now. Cow. And then just a bunch of people from off panel go, aww.
That's what it looks like. I'm sending a picture.
Yeah, that's a very Digimon-esque art style.
That artist has been pumping out stuff.
Good for him or her.
Actually, it's This person's just been doing a bunch of stuff. Let's see. The main series they are known for is Karakai Juzo no Takagi-san. It's that series where it's two middle schoolers, a guy and a girl, and the girl just teases the guy nonstop.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
But it's very obvious that the girl really likes him, but the guy likes her, but he's a dense boy and doesn't realize it yet. So it's really cute. And then there's a spinoff where they're adults and they have a kid. And they're doing all that. And then there's a whole this person's just cranking out solid fucking manga over and over and over again.
Cool.
Like this person's a damn good creator.
Nice.
That's about it.
All right. Well, I read some more of 52, numbers 7 through 14. It's still a really, really solid book, and that's impressive for the fact that this came out every week for a year. Some of the plots are starting to intersect now. Black Adam gave his girlfriend superpowers, and she became ISIS, and now now she's going like, okay, you guys stop being a dipshit. Let's make your country actually good. You're trying to make this global superpower of zero tolerance for supervillains. Let's try and do that in an actual good non-supervillainy way. He's like, okay, I guess so. And then at the same time, Renee Montoya and Vic Sage are going to his country, which I'm only going to say it once because I've never been sure on how to pronounce it. I think it's called Kurak, but I could be wrong because it's spelled really weird because comics. But they're going there to keep up with their investigation that's going on into Intergang potentially trying to take over Gotham City after the shit that went down in the Crisis book that this is following up on that I can never remember which Crisis book it is. Yeah, I think that's all there is I wanted to comment on because the other stories is just not much this. Like, those are the two stories I really care about. The other ones are just kind of like, yeah, this is happening at the moment. I'm sure they will get better. Oh, there was a dope-ass issue about Superman where, like, there's a new hero who has shown up in Metropolis in the wake of, apparently Superman used up all of his powers during the Crisis event, and now he's just waiting to recharge, so he can't be Superman. And so now he sucks at reporting, and like Perry White fires him. He's like, I don't know what magic spark you had, but it's gone, and you need to either go get it back or find another profession because I cannot have you on my staff being like this. And then Clark just, as Perry's handing him the termination papers, he just looks out Perry's office window and he sees this brand new hero flying by. And so he goes and jumps out Perry's window. Perry thinks he's trying to kill himself. And the hero catches him and he's like, hey man, are you all right? You don't need to do that. It gets better, bro. It gets better. And then Clark just whips out his pen and pad of paper and is like, Clark Kent, Daily Planet, let's talk.
That's perfect.
I know. It's so good. So that was a great scene. And also there's some shit going on with Steel where his niece, he took her super suit away because he was like, you need to learn that you have to actually earn your powers and use them for good. And then Lex Luthor's like, hey, I figured out how to turn everybody into mutants. I mean, metahumans. Who wants to be a metahuman? And then she went and signed up for that program. And now Steel's all pissed about that. And he's making a new suit for her to try and get her back. And also there's some shit going on wrong with his biology that's turning him into actual stainless steel. And maybe Luthor did that to him. We don't know for sure. And also, Ralph Dibny joined a cult to try and get his dead wife back. That's a thing.
Yeah.
Current comics I read this week. Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers Forever Rangers #1, which is a one-shot basically wrapping up the story up till this point in Go-Go. Really solid. I felt the way Alpha 1's story ends is a bit rushed, but it's clear he'll come back eventually if Parrot's run continues beyond Necessary Evil. So I'm kind of okay with it. I'm a little butthurt that they kind of just nipped the whole Jason/Trini thing in the bud, but the way they did it was very tasteful and made sense for a superhero book. There's a fucking heart-wrenching scene where Rita reveals that the whole reason she summoned her mom's ghost was so that she could use someone with a ton of spiritual energy to reactivate the dragon coin, and she just sacrifices her mom, and not in the like I have to give up this thing to get this thing because I love it and it's hard. She just does it in this dispassionate, I never fucking knew this woman and she's trying to convert me back to good like a dumb bitch. Fuck you kind of a way. And it's like, especially because for this whole arc up until this point, Rita's mom has just been practically begging and pleading with her, like, I know you have a good person in you. I know you can be good. You don't have to do this. And it's like, I liked you, Rita's mom, and we're probably never going to see you again. I'm real sad.
But hey, if we look into the future of Power Rangers, Rita does turn good and becomes the mother of magic.
Yep. It's also cool continuity stuff. Then everybody randomly changes their look to more line themselves up with what was going on in the Mighty Morphin book when it started, because now we're up to just before that, because Tommy's about to show up. And the last page is basically a recreation of that opening karate tournament scene from Green with Evil, which was cool. I'm really hoping they didn't do this just so they could jump ahead to have this book be happening at the same time as Necessary Evil. I really hope that what they're doing, because this is what we thought they were doing at the announcement, but now that the next thing I'm going to talk about is out, it looks like it might not be that, but I'm hoping that the go-go part of Necessary Evil is just going to be the comic version of Green with Evil, because I feel like Ryan Parrott could do a really sick remake of that story. But we're going to have to wait another week or two to find out. Fingers crossed, though. And then I read MMPR number 40, the proper beginning of Necessary Evil, the new arc, which... Before I talk about anything else in this book, I had a really cool, completely random, awesome thing happen with it, where the first 3 pages are just the last 3 pages of Shattered Grid, just reminding us where this book was before it went and did Beyond the Grid, because nobody liked Beyond the Grid, and a lot of people, including myself, dropped the book during Beyond the Grid because it was stupid and boring. And after those pages, there's a 2-page spread of like this gray on white collage of vague images of the White Ranger, and then just Necessary Evil spread all across the page like a cool title page. And when I flipped to that page, the fucking Undisputed Era theme came on in my music playlist. So it's like, as I'm flipping the page, I get shock to the system as I'm reading the words Necessary Evil, and I was like, that is the most badass shit ever. I'm so glad that happened. But this book is not taking place directly after Shattered Grid. We've actually jumped ahead in time a good bit, or potentially this is the ramifications of the universe is getting slightly altered at the end of Shattered Grid. It's hard to tell, but basically we are in season 2 now. Tommy is the White Ranger, Adam, Rocky, and Aisha are here, and Lord Mother Flippin' Zed is here. And I was hyped to see that stuff because Lord knows me and a lot of other people are tired of MMPR Season 1, and everybody loves themselves Lord Zed. Everybody's got their own personal favorite out of the Stone Canyon trio, and like, love or hate Tommy, White Ranger Saga is some fucking choice ass early Power Rangers. So it's great to see all that. And it's mostly just establishing the situation we're in, where Tommy is now, it's like right after the power transfer, where kind of in the same way as the beginning of MMPR was right after Green with Evil, of the other three have gone off to the peace conference, and we actually get a scene towards the end where they're video chatting with them, which was a cool, like, hey, this book takes place in modern times, so we can do that now, kind of a thing. And also, we don't have to get the actors back because we kind of pissed off the actors, but making the best with what we got. But Tommy is settling into his role as the leader, and he's clearly having a hard time with it, even though he's trying so hard to be Jason. And that's probably going to be the lesson he learns at the end of this arc is Jason was Jason. I have to lead the way Tommy leads. Is clearly what this is going for, but there's a lot of tension between him, Kimberly, and Billy and the Stone Canyon trio because they just joined and they're having to catch up to the other's skill level real quick and not too good at that. And clearly there's some sort of friction going on between Aisha and Kimberly, which I'm kind of torn about because on the one hand, it's like, well, they were always friends in the original show. Why wouldn't you just have them be friends? But on the other hand, it's like, well, clearly we're doing an arc that will get us to that character status quo. So I'm just hoping they do it well enough. And then Zed has this freaking awesome speech after the opening fight scene where his monster gets destroyed, where Goldar and Finster are kind of just like, so what are we going to do next, Master? You want to make a new monster or send down some putties? And he's like, no. Don't you guys get it? I came in to fix this operation. I guess I was just a little nice to have assumed that the stupidity was only contained to Rita. But apparently you guys like just doing the same thing over and over again, too. No. I'm not going to do that. I am not Rita Repulsa. I am Lord Mother Flippin' Zed. And I have a new plan. And his new plan is that he hires a, like, super dangerous alien assassin guy who is a red-skinned member of Doggy Kruger's race.
Holy shit.
Yeah, my jaw dropped when I saw that. And clearly him and Zed are old friends. Like when he gets him, he like buys him from this prison that he's currently being held in. And he gets let out of his cage and he's like, hey man, nice to see you. It was weird finding out that you were in prison, but I know someone like you would only intentionally go there. So I hope you don't mind being pulled off of a job. And he's like, nah, Zed, I don't mind at all. I do think it's a bit weird that you're hiring me to kill a bunch of monkeys, but for an old friend, I guess I can do it on the cheap. And it's like, ooh, this guy's going to be a scary, badass motherfucker, and I'm excited.
You know what I would love to see?
What?
A young Doggy Kruger cop on the chase.
That would be amazing.
Like, this is what turns him into the grizzled veteran that we see in SPD.
Or, no, it has to be what sets him on the path to being that, because the SPD gives an explanation of the reason he is that way.
But you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing that, like, he's the young, idealistic cop. He thinks he's going to be doing the right thing, and then he comes in and he's, like, the dick to the Mighty Morphin Rangers, and he just goes like, hey, you don't know shit out there. I know, and he has to learn that lesson, and he goes like, you know what? Rangers are a good idea. Maybe I'll keep that on the back burner.
Yeah, he's like the Blue Centurion, but not a joke. I'd be down.
That would be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
And may I just quickly point out, American Doggy Kruger looks 10 times better than Japanese Doggy Kruger.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast. I won't say what podcast because I don't want to start a fight with anyone, but like somebody was talking about like, oh yeah, I really want to get Lightning Collection Deca Master, and I'm gonna throw out that dumb American head because stupid lizard dog. And I literally was almost threw my phone. I was so mad at hearing somebody say that, because if you do not like Greg Horonowitz's work on SPD, you are not a decent human being, in my opinion.
It looks 10 times better than weird, fuzzy, fucking...
It's a fursuit. That's all the Japanese Doggy Kruger is a fursuit.
Anything else you read?
Yeah. Action Comics number 1012 or 1012, depending on how you want to pronounce numbers. Fucking, I don't know. This is okay. It's basically just a kind of a like relaxed catch-up issue for a lot of the auxiliary cast. Also going, hey, Event Leviathan is happening. And there was a decent scene with Superman and Lois in the fortress, but other than that, not really that notable. Sabrina the Teenage Witch number 3, though, was pretty fucking choice. There's it picks up right off from the last issue where she's being dragged through the forest by a big weird snake guy, and she managed to escape the snake guy for some clever spelling. And then she runs into a trailer park and runs into the mean girl from her school and finds out, oh, the mean girl lives in a trailer park. And she's kind of nice when she's not at school. And, how am I going to get home? There's a weird monster outside. I might have to call my aunts. And then Mean Girl's hot brother walks in and is like, hey, I'll give you a ride home on my motorcycle. And she literally has this inner monologue of like, is my life ever going to stop switching genres? In the last 5 pages alone, we've gone from horror film to teenage comedy to 80s teenage fantasy. What is going on? Can we at least stick on this one? While she's like riding next to the sea in the sunset, clutching onto this guy's back. And I'm like, oh, this is exactly what I wanted from this book. I'm so happy. And she gets home and there's some good banter between her and Salem before she walks into the aunts and goes, so this is what happened to me today. And they're just like, what the fuck? That's not good. We got to go talk to the Witches' Council. You go to your room and try to stay out of trouble for the rest of the night. And then we get another good scene with her and Salem, and that's... I think there was something else that happened at the end, but I can't really remember it right now. It's good. I like this book a whole lot. Fucking Kelly Thompson and Veronica Fish were perfect picks for Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and if you like any of the new style Archie stuff that's been happening since Mark Waid took over the book, this is the Sabrina the Teenage Witch that I feel fits perfectly with that. Everybody should give this a try. Unless you're like a horror hound and you like Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which I won't fault anybody for, but it's just not for me. And then I read Stranger Things 6 numbers 1 and 2 because I kind of overlooked this when it got announced because I read the first Stranger Things licensed comic that came out, which was basically like, this is what Will went through in the Upside Down, and it was really boring and bland, and it also had like Stan Lee levels of narration telling me what I could see happening on the panels. So it really ticked me off, and I was like, if this is what the Stranger Things comics are going to be like, I'm just going to stay far away from these. But then I saw a review for the first issue of this the other day, and it sounded pretty okay, so I said I'd check it out, and it is pretty okay. It's a prequel that takes place in the 70s with another girl in the lab who has psychic vision. She's a I can see the future, but I can't control what I see girl. And
I can see the future.
Yeah, she's basically That's So Raven, but she's a red-haired white girl in the 70s. So, it's that kind of aesthetic. And there's another guy in the group who she may potentially like, but also he kind of tricked her into joining the program, so she's really mad at him right now. And there's a lot of really interesting flashbacks to her home life and how he was kind of her escape, and they kind of fell in love, but then it all obviously went wrong when she got entered into the program. And Dr. Brenner is there, being Dr. Brenner. He's pretty creepy, but also he's trying to be nice to everybody, and it's a really interesting dichotomy. It's like you're the fucky guy. I don't like you, but he's just being like nice dad guy to all these children and just going like, all right, you can play for another 10 minutes, but then we need to test you. And I'm like, I don't trust you, motherfucker. I know what you fucking did. I know what you're gonna fucking do. Don't fucking touch these kids. And there is a scene where we see 11 in one of her early tests. We are already doing that in issue 2, but I don't know how much of that there's actually going to be, because I get the sense that this is very much just about these two characters and it just takes place at the same time as this. It's kind of like a Rogue One type deal, where these two are probably going to make it out okay from the whole disaster that happens at the lab. But there's no telling, and obviously they'll never show up in the actual show. But that's fine, because it's an okay thing. So if you like Stranger Things, I would recommend checking that out. And then I read the first 3 issues of the current Thanos mini that's going on, and holy shit, that's so good. It's basically early days Thanos trying to get Def to notice him. He needs Def Senpai to notice him. And then when he's got a big beef with the Magus going on, and while he's doing something to try and piss off the Magus, it's revealed that, the planet he's attacking is Gamora's planet. This is Gamora's origin story. There's a little baby Gamora. Oh no! And then the next issue is like the crew going, Captain's gotten soft. He's got a daughter. He's being all nice and shit, and fucking this isn't the Thanos we knew. Meanwhile, he's doing all this fucked up shit to this poor little girl, and she's trying to be a scrappy badass through it all. And it's like, I'm really enjoying this family dynamic, but also I feel incredibly guilty for enjoying it. So yeah, definitely do read that, especially if you like movie Gamora and you've wanted to see what comic Gamora is like. I feel like this is a really good introduction from her, because from what I understand, this isn't like retelling and expanding on the backstory. We've never actually shown this happening in Marvel continuity. We've talked about it. It's a known fact that Gamora's the daughter of Thanos, and her and Nebula grew up together, and all this fucked up shit happened to them. But we've never actually seen it told, and that is what this is doing. So it's some nice gap filling, and I feel like it might be a good entry point for the comic versions of these characters. And quite honestly, I don't dislike movie Thanos, but I am finding comic Thanos to be so much more engaging than even he was in Infinity War, because I understand there's been some changes and additions to his character since then. And also, I said Infinity War, I meant to say Infinity Gauntlet, because that's the other thing I've read comic Thanos in. But yeah, that's really good. And then I read the Spider-Man annual that just came out this week, which is a Spider-Ham story to tie in with the fact that Into the Spider-Verse is about to come out on Netflix, because they introduce a rogues gallery for him that is just animal pun versions of Marvel villains, and his sidekick, Spider-Gwen, which is Gwen Stacy, but she was a spider that got bit by a radioactive penguin. So now she's a penguin version of Spider-Gwen.
Fucking shit. I'm done.
Spider-Gwen.
I'm done. Fuck that. fucking hell. Fuck me. Why? Why? Why?
Because
Why?
Because puns, that's why.
Bitch.
I really liked it. It was really cute and funny, and there's not much else to say besides that. It's basically the story of establishing a actual universe for Spider-Ham, and the fact that he loses his mojo for a little bit, but then he gets back in the groove by beating up all his villains, and yeah, it's nice. It's good. It's clearly like testing the waters to see if there's interest in a Spider-Ham ongoing. And based on this, yes, I would read a Spider-Ham ongoing. But that's all the stuff I read this week. Chris, did you play anything this week?
I finished Legend of Zelda.
Way.
Link Between Worlds, finished that up, beat the final boss. It was hella fun.
Nice.
It was really, it was like, it gave me feelings because everybody was kind of like, we believe in you, and it's like, I needed that in my life right now, thank you. I started up to work on another game I've been playing, Etrian Odyssey Untold.
Never heard of that.
The Etrian Odyssey series is a JRPG made by Atlas, the same people who made Persona and Shin Megami Tensei and all that stuff. Basically, you go around the dungeon and you fight monsters. But here's the difference. You don't have a map. You can't buy a map. You have to draw your own map.
Oh, shit.
And you're in labyrinths. You are in twisty-turny mazes.
That's interesting.
And you have to draw your map, so you have to be really good at cartography while you're fighting monsters and worrying about resources. And all the while, there are giant monsters that will fuck your shit up roaming the field. But see, Etrian Odyssey Untold is actually a remake of the original Etrian Odyssey for the DS. And in Untold series, they add a more concrete story mode with characters, which I like a little bit better for an Etrian Odyssey game, just because it gives me something I can hook onto while I'm drawing my maps, rather than just the maps itself being the draw. It gives me a little bit more meat for the bone. And another game I've been playing Citus 2.
Citus 2. Sounds like it should be familiar.
Citus is a rhythm game from iPhone and Android, and it got a sequel starring Hatsune Miku.
Okay.
Not really. Basically, you've played rhythm games, haven't you?
I have been known to partake on the occasion.
So here's the base concept. You poke buttons as the song plays. And Citus 2, it takes place in a virtual internet society, and you play as several pop stars and musicians making music and releasing it to the public. All the while, a bunch of mystery stuff is just going on. Like, you play as a robot, and he's reposting, and there's also a virtual social network on the thing that gives you lore, and he's posting, hey, here's AI shit, and everybody's going hey, robot, you're so cool. And each of the characters you can play have little unique quirks to their playstyle. One of them, the way you play it, there's a line bouncing between two things in time with the music. So sometimes it can get a little weird to hit a notes, and you have to be good at hand-eye coordination. And it's just ways to do it, and it's interesting. The one thing I kinda am not I understand, but I'm not the biggest fan of is essentially you are given 4 characters for free, and it's a free game to download from this app store. So you have, and each character has about like 25 songs. So you're getting 100 songs to play for free.
Nice.
That's a good deal. But including Miku, which is a limited time thing, yeah, you have to like next year to buy her.
Oh.
You have, hold on.
Basically, you have till the license runs out.
But like you have till next year to buy her. But that's Miku. You also have a guy called Xeon, Connor, Cherry, Joe, Aroma, Nora, and Neku. Not Neku, Nico. And each of those characters are $9.99. So it's $9.99 to get the rest for every single individual character to get the rest of the songs in the game. Now, it's not that big a deal because you have already 100 songs. So it's kind of like, I understand, but I also like wish it wasn't that way. You know what I'm saying? I wish there was a way. I wish it wasn't so obvious that they were wanting a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it's a really fun game. I've been really enjoying it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I for probably the first time on this segment, I don't have any toys to talk about this week, but I did play this sick, dope new game that probably a lot of people haven't heard about before. It's not really popular among today's generation. It's a VR title. It's called Jogging in the Park. It's by this new studio called Real Boys Productions, and it's a really great simulation of, you go to your local park and you put on some workout clothes and you stretch and you jog around the trail. You jog around the trail and you see all these middle-aged white dudes who are trying to stay in shape, and these couples who are just doing this as a way to hang out and have a cheap date, and these older black ladies who are all doing this as the way to keep up with their girlfriends, and occasionally you'll spot like some people just hanging out on the trail doing something random, like trying to learn how to skateboard, or juggling, or a couple having a picnic date, and it's fucking awesome. It's a great way to get some exercise. It's got amazing graphics, so you really get in the full spectrum of what nature has to offer, and it's just, it really restores your faith in humanity, and hey, you get some exercise while you're at it. So guys, I really recommend this game. Unfortunately, the only way you can actually get a hold of it is by going to the gift shop at your local park. So I'd recommend just going out, hopping in the car next free afternoon you got, and go down to the park and play some jogging in the park. It's really cool.
Nice.
I didn't know how else to work that into the podcast, but I started doing that this week, and it was really fun, and I'm definitely going to keep up with it. Anyways, I think that about does it for this episode. Chris, why don't you tell everybody where they can find your shit?
First off, I would also like to apologize for a joke I made earlier. It's fine to be a bit more butch lesbian. I don't know why I said that. I just want to say that real quick. It was I don't know. I felt it was eating me up a little bit. I just want to apologize, just in general.
All right, good on you for covering your ass and getting that off your chest, feeling better. But,
yeah. But while I'm at it, I'm Chris, Boingo Writer Gaston. You can find me on YouTube. I do video editorials on a bunch of dumb shit. You can find me on Twitter at Boingo_Writer. You can find me on Instagram at Boingo_Writer. And you can find me on my Discord channel. Link to that is in the description.
All right. Well, I am Simeon Scott, but I'm better known to the net as the Vacuuminator, or VAC for short. I've made all kinds of shit from all kinds of times and periods of my career. I've reinvented myself tons of times and split off my channels, and now I'm currently reuniting all my channels, so there's a shit ton of re-uploads scheduled to go up on my channel right now. But hey, that gives you a great opportunity to check out some of my my older content and see if it's for you. So maybe drop in for one of those premieres I got set to go on. You can find all of those at youtube.com/creator/thevacuuminator. I'm also on the social medias, so if you want to hang out and talk to me and see what I'm thinking about and doing, when I'm thinking about it and when I'm doing it, follow me on Twitter. It's at the Vacuuminator. Did I put an underscore in that new username? I'm still not used to these because I've just changed it back. No, it's just at the Vacuuminator, one word. And you can follow me on Instagram, which is also at the Vacuuminator. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So hey, guess what? This is a podcast. You're listening to it. But if you want to listen to more episodes of this podcast, hey, I'd recommend subscribing to the Modular Media channel by clicking that button down below. You can also listen to the podcast on the go by downloading an MP3 of it from the Google Drive folder, which is linked down in the video description. If you want to stay up to date on when the podcast is coming out and what's going on with it and other stuff, go follow us on Twitter at the Modular Media and join our subreddit, r/modular media. We do shit there occasionally. But that is it for this episode. So we will see you next time on the Analytical Fanboys podcast when we will be discussing Database Rangers Power Reviews Year 2.
Alrighty.
It's time to fucking catch up, bro, because I think after we do this one, since Year 3 is still not over, you can just catch up, and then when Year 3 ends, we can do the podcast on it.
All right.
And it is episodes 53 to 80 for anyone who wants to watch along with us. So, until next time, I'm a fucking sword boy, and that's a fucking skelly man, and...
Bankai.
Exactly. Bye! I hate that song.
互いに支え合ってくのさいつも支えてくれる人たちに日頃の思いを込めたラプソディアプリシエーションな気持ちを堂々けいつもありがとう本当はありがとうたとえどこに立って君の存在に感謝してるよ